to lose. Steve Rhodes, what's going on?
Well, Tom, you had me reminiscing there, going back to Nelson, William, and Lamar, the Hunt brothers.
Oh, yeah. That's where I went. And the first one at the $42, exactly.
That's right. So I happened to, my first actual trades in life were silver, gold, and mining equities. I had a economics teacher, professor. I went to a small private college and in the Detroit area.
Okay.
And I remember he didn't drive. I mean, he was the official gold bug. You would have loved this guy.
What a ride.
And he had tons of worldwide experiences, and happened to show up at this private college. A great guy, but he had brokerage accounts over in Canada. So we would drive over to Canada, and that's where I first started seeing tape reading and things of that sort.
Sure.
And so I just followed his lead, and I did get in. I bought physical silver at that time. And bought some physical silver and some physical gold. Didn't know anything. Didn't know what I was doing. But it did. I did certainly was reminiscing during the Nelson Bunker Hut days when they tried to corner silver.
I know.
I've never seen any. I actually, don't recall seeing any interviews by those guys. I don't know if any of the brothers are still alive or not. But it would be interesting just to hear their actual story.
No, it would be. It would be. And the mind blower, folks, inside the silver market in general, is that that just 4 quarters, right? Well, of the old quarters,
yes,
is almost an ounce. I mean, yeah. So picture that. That's $1, folks. So $1 is worth $20 right now.
Yeah, well, it was kind of cool, and one of the reasons why I was interested in this, in understanding that marketplace, or at least getting involved with it, was, and I know you've probably heard this story before, but when I was a kid growing up, I had both the 2 paper routes during school. So I had the Detroit Free Press, which was in the morning, the Detroit News in the evening, and on collection days, Fridays, when I would come back home, my dad would have me sift through all the change and make sure I pulled out every pre-64 coin.
Right.
And at that stage, I was just too young to truly understand he knew it. He knew what was going on.
Yeah.
But that's what, and then he got me into coin collecting, and then the next thing you know, I'm with this economics teacher that really was a big gold bug. So it's kind of cool actually for you to bring up silver and take us back. But speaking of history, I thought what we would do here, and we've seen this chart, many times, but it's pertinent to today, tomorrow, or let's just say this week. And that is, folks, the seasonal cycle. And this is an 86-year history of the Dow. I've gone back 86 years and mapped out each day, each week. And this is the average. So don't pay attention to the numbers that you see on the side. Instead, pay attention to the peaks and the valleys. And so typically, right around July 21st, today's July 20th, is where we actually see the so-called sell in May cycle really kick in, which typically takes markets down into the middle of October. So it's really kind of perfect when you can take a look at the overall economic situation that's going on across the planet, the seasonal cycle, and to take us down in towards that election time period.
That's wild, man. Really, yeah.
Yeah,
and particularly, because we have so many earnings this week too, Steve. I mean, folks, the Nasdaq stocks are running like crazy. There's no doubt about it. But this would be the week that's going to be cool watching this thing shake out, man.
Yeah. So folks, if we do, so it would not be. Here's the thing to understand: it would not be unusual. In fact, it would be average for the market to top out sometime this week. And then move down into the middle of October, I would say, since it's an election year. And I will pull out my election cycle type charts out here. It's probably a bit too early, but then it would be normal for the markets to move lower during this time period. Now, the Dow itself, because that is a annual seasonal cycle that takes a look at the Dow. The Dow formed one of my topping signals, Tom, which is a TD9 count high, and it did that on June the 8th. And so the Dow's topping pattern will remain in place until it closes above 27,580.21. The downside, the support level that folks should be watching would be 24,781.84. Any close below that, and that's going to signal the Dow preparing to get back to those March lows out here. Now, the Dow futures contract shows two different topping patterns. It shows a Gartley Sell. It shows a TD9 count, and its levels are a little bit different. The key level of support here for folks to watch would be 24,266. Now, the Dow futures is really important because we were taking a look at this seasonal cycle of the Dow, and here is the Dow equity future contract, which Tom produced a brand new profile. It began forming on Friday. It firmed up last night. And what's nice about this is it provides us with a real key level of support. And that key level of support is 26,178. That's the key level that you need to see it close below. And I would say two closes below to suggest that a change in trend, or at least a run back to that lower level that we had just looked at, which was 24,266, for that to become the price target. So watch 26,178. And just as that is support, folks, a resistance is 26,886, so a close above that would extend the rally. So what's nice about having the annual seasonal cycle, there's no action anyone has to take. We've got the key lines of demarcation up at the top, 26,886, and that is in the futures contract, and then 26,178, and that is the support level. Any breaks of those areas will really signal to you and I, to everybody out there, what its intention is from a price standpoint. If price takes out resistance, where's the Dow headed to? And folks, you guys can do this at home as well. Now, I've done this with the equity future contract just to stay consistent here, but you can draw a trend. There's a red little trend line, Tom, that I've drawn out here.
Yes.
That takes a look at the 2018 highs, 2019. And what's really interesting is the rally that we saw in the Dow, when it made its top, ran right into resistance right at that level. So that's where the high is at out there. And so any close above the top of that daily profile, you can see a run up to the 27,550 level. In the ES Mini has resistance at around 32, 33 and a quarter. That's the top of the monthly profile. That's the lower left-hand panel. The upper right-hand panel is a bearish structured weekly profile. And so 32.53 is the center of that level. The top of that, which is where sellers are at 33.74. The reason why it's bearish in structure, Tom, is because there's both buyers and sellers at the center of the box. And in proximity-wise, it's much closer to the top. So real strong resistance between 32.53 and 32.74. But folks, let's watch to see how this plays out with regard to the seasonal cycle. And if we see key levels of support being broken, it signals to us a market that wants to move lower into probably October.
Pretty wild, man. I like it. I like it. We're right next to it, 24 hours away.
I love
it. Listen, man, you have a great week, safe week, and of course, we look forward to the show tomorrow, Steve.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. Stay right there, folks. Coming right back.